Silver just surged past $95. It's not long now before we have $100 silver parties. And this car does 1,500 kilometers, even at temperatures like minus 30 or very hot temperatures, because of the silver battery, the solid state battery. There's about 1 kilo of silver just for the battery. And it's unknown how much is in the rest of the car. It depends how much electronics it's got. Basically speaking, the more electronic gadgets and gizmos cars have, the more silver they use up. The more computerized they are, the more sensors they've got all over it, cameras, they all use a lot of silver. Some estimates say it could be 1.5 kilos in a car like this, but this car is absolutely amazing. 1,500 kilometers on one charge. That is astounding, because it is true solid state. There's a lot of false claims about solid state, like Donut Labs. They were lying. They said they could make it without silver. The experts say you cannot achieve these results without using lots of silver. It's the chemistry. You can't go against the laws of chemistry. Silver is the most electrically conductive element in the periodic table. Now, these solid state batteries are an absolute game changer. This is just the first one. Cherry has made this, and there'll be many others like this. It's not too expensive yet because silver's only $100, but they should make as many as they can as quick as they can, because soon silver will be $200 because of technology like this. Not just this. It's not just this. This is a small part of the whole overall picture. Industrial demand is more than supply on its own, and investment demand is more than supply on its own. So together, the demand from industrial and investment demand is more than twice supply. Of course, the price has got to go up. It's got to go up to a ridiculous level so that it is economic to retrieve silver from landfill. There's been about 60 billion ounces of silver mined through all of history. Only about 1% of that is left in available supply, bullion, bars and coins above ground. They mine about 800 million every year, but demand is 2.5 billion ounces every year. That's including industrial, military, solar panels, EVs, wind, hydroelectric, and then consumer computers, electronics, nuclear control rods, medical uses. I could go on and on and on, but demand from industry is increasing the more technologically advanced humans get. Now, this car is an absolute game changer. There'll be many others. That's the silver battery right there. I think this car looks pretty good. And I would love a car that's 1,500 kilometers in one charge, even at extreme temperatures. You're just not going to ever get that performance out of a lithium-ion battery that doesn't use 1 kilo of silver. And you cannot make solid-state batteries without silver. It cannot be done. There's one possible substitute, which is called graphene. It's very, very expensive. Silver's less than $100 per ounce. Graphene, I think they said it's thousands of dollars per ounce to make it. It's a synthetic substance that's made from carbon. It's very, very, very expensive. They're not going to make it, but that's the only thing that could possibly replace silver. But silver's so cheap. Why not keep trashing away? But I love the solid state batteries like this. You can charge it incredibly fast. Now, the figures will depend on a few things. The super fast chargers, I've used them on my electric car. I've got an electric car with lithium-ion batteries. I think they say the super fast chargers will be like a couple of minutes from 20% up to 80%. And above 80%, it takes a bit longer. You're forcing the last bit in. I only really charge to 80% because it just takes a bit longer for the rest of it. But the super fast chargers, for the solid state batteries, it will take a couple of minutes, comparable time to filling a tank of petrol or diesel, a large tank. It'll be the same time. You stop at a petrol station, and by the time you pay for it, you're away. That's the same. It will be, you stop, either an EV or a petrol diesel will be the same time to charge if you're using a super fast, lightning fast charger. Below that, you've got the fast chargers, a little bit slower. It won't take long. It's just maybe a few more minutes. It's nothing. I'm used to stopping for 20 minutes or half an hour, to charge my car. It's fine. I go and have a cup of tea, go to the toilet. That's fine. But I love the idea of charging in a few minutes. So the advantages of solid state cars: incredibly long range, The power density per kilo per size is absolutely astounding on the silver solid state batteries. You can charge it unbelievably fast, the same sort of time as it takes to fill a tank of petrol or diesel. They have a very, very long lifespan. Some have said now 200 years. We don't know yet. We'll see. But they say at least 100,000 charge-discharge cycles. I only charge my car once a week, really. But some people, if you're doing very high mileage, might do it 2 or 3 times a week. But it's certainly a couple of lifetimes. So I'd say this car, or a car with a solid state battery, will be very expensive to buy. Sure, it'll be very expensive. It will be a very good investment. Even if the whole car has worn out entirely, the solid state battery is still going to be worth a lot of money. But I think to buy it now, it's going to look like, oh wow, that's very expensive for a solid state battery. It's cheap. It's cheap compared to what it will be in a few years' time, and in 5 years' time, and in 10 years' time. If you buy a solid state battery in the 2020s, in the 2030s, it's going to be very, very, very expensive. I think it's a very good investment if you can buy. And this car is released this year, by the way. This car is going to be released this year. There's already solid state batteries on the market. I mean, MG has got the newer version of my car, the MG5. That has got a solid state battery, and that is on the road. People have been buying it and driving it on the road. It's one of the first gen solid state batteries. This one is far better. 1,500 kilometers. That is absolutely mind-boggling on one charge. It's a game changer. And I think this will be really, really valuable in the future. I think this would be a very good vehicle for preppers, a good bug-out vehicle. If you keep it charged, even if it's 80% charged, you probably do like 1,300 kilometers. That's a very good bug-out vehicle. I'm looking for something like this, or a 4x4, well, an SUV at least, as a bug-out vehicle. You can go a long, long way on one charge. Now, why I'm prepping, what my channel is all about, I firmly believe what I've said right from the start, that the banking system will collapse. The fiat currency system is currently in stage 2 of the monetary cycle. No, sorry, we're in stage 3 now. We've just got into stage 3. Stage 1 is promissory notes convertible for gold and silver. Stage 2, they suspend convertibility. Now, in stage 1, there's a limit how many promissory notes they can create. They can only create the same amount of promissory notes or fiat currency, paper and digital, as they have gold and silver to convert it for. They can't create more. Stage 2, suspend convertibility of the promissory notes for the gold and the silver in the vaults. Now there's no limit. They can create as much as they like, and the supply is expanding. Now, I know some people say, no, the supply is not expanding. It is set. That is a lie. You're being fed false information. The supply of promissory notes in the world is constantly expanding. It's now going exponential. That is stage 2. Stage 3 of the monetary cycle, gold and silver revalue up to account for all the promissory notes, banknotes added to supply since the last time the cycle repeated. And at the end of stage 3, gold and silver do a complete revaluation to account for all the banknotes, both paper and digital, added to supply. And the banknotes, the fiat currency, goes to nothing. I think that will happen. I am preparing for that. What will it look like? Nobody knows. Even the central planners don't know, but they are planning for it. This is why the world's looking so crazy right now. They want a soft landing and a smooth transition into whatever comes next. After the pound, British pound, the US dollar, all the dollars, Canadian, Australia, New Zealand, the euro, the yen, the yuan, Russian ruble, after they've all collapsed, what comes next? I think all these countries will try some kind of new central bank digital currency. They've got it in the works. They want a smooth transition over to that. I think it will not be smooth. I think it will be chaos. Now, I'm not an extreme prepper. I'm not thinking Mad Max or like The Road, Cormac McCarthy. Nothing like that at all. But I think you're going to have trouble buying food. There'll be massive inflation, massive inflation. And you'll get to the point where you need a lot, big piles of cash to buy the basics. And then the currency will collapse. And then the government will issue an emergency new way to pay for things. I think there will be several attempts to rejigger the system. And during this time, there will be chaos. There will be rioting, protests, people unhappy. There will be civil unrest beyond anything we've seen in our lifetimes, I suspect, in the areas we live, but comparable to other civil unrest around the world. And I think bug out. Don't be in high population areas when that happens. Don't get involved with the looting. I think the police and the army will be called in. We might well have all kinds of extreme measures, we might do. It might be smooth, I might be wrong, but it's going to be hard times. The best possible scenario is they can go to a smooth transition to CBDCs and there's not this chaos that I'm predicting. But I am prepping for chaos. And I recommend everybody stack silver. It's still cheap. It's under $100. That is still very, very cheap compared to what it will be. Mark my words, in a few years' time, the purchasing power of silver will go up significantly. And whatever you do, don't buy ETFs. Do not buy any paper or digital promise of silver. Don't buy mining shares. They will all be washed away in the chaos. You need to hold something that is private and anonymous. And be patient. I'm in no hurry. I'm not going to be selling any. Well, I'll never sell my silver, but I'm not in a hurry to borrow against it. I'm going to wait for the new system. It might be Bitcoin or some kind of digital system when the pound has died and the banks have failed. And then I might well borrow against my silver. 80% loan to value, something like that. And only if it's good debt, which means it produces more income than what it costs me. So businesses or income producing property.